Hello and welcome to On the Money with NEDAP, the show about community financial justice in New York City. On the Money is presented by NEDAP, the Neighborhood Economic Development Advocacy Project, which is a nonprofit resource center that works to promote economic justice in New York City neighborhoods. On today's show of On the Money, we're going to be talking about credit reports and credit repair, two issues that cause a lot of confusion for a lot of people. On today's show, we're going to be telling you a little bit about how you can get your credit report and for free, and also what you can do to repair or improve your credit also for free. We're going to debunk a lot of myths and misconceptions about credit reports and credit repair, and we're going to focus a lot on what your rights are in the credit repair and credit reporting systems, because we're not at the mercy of these agencies and lenders all the time. So if you don't have a pen and paper, we'd ask you to grab that now, because on today's show, we're going to be giving you a lot of phone numbers and websites where you can go to order your credit report and also to get more information and assistance. I'm here with Sarah Ludwig, also from NEDAP, NEDAP's director, and we're going to be having a conversation today about credit reports and credit scores. So before we launch in, Sarah, could you just give us a little bit of background about this issue and why it's important to a lot of New Yorkers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad we're doing this show today because, like you said, credit reporting there's a lot of misinformation about it out there, and it's something that affects a lot of us. And you know, there's more and more credit that's available to people. Mm-hmm. Bad credit, no problem. It's very easy to get credit, and yet there's a lot of consequences of that easy credit for people. And credit reports have taken on a really significant aspect of our lives, because credit reports are now being used not just when people apply for loans, which is the original reason to have a credit report, but also they're being used by employers to determine whether or not someone gets a job. Credit reports are pulled routinely by landlords to decide whether or not to rent an apartment to somebody. They're also being used by insurance companies to decide whether or not car insurance, home owner's insurance, property insurance is going to be extended to people. The insurance company will look at your credit information to decide whether or not they're going to write you a premium or what price they're going to charge you. So it's really all around us, and credit reports are being seen more and more as kind of a reflection or an indication of people's character. And so we think it's really, really important for people to understand what credit reports are. There's groups like ours that are fighting against the use of credit reports in unjustified circumstances as well.
Exactly, and I think some of this information is going to be really interesting to viewers that may not realize all the different ways that credit reports are used nowadays. Some of them are pretty new developments, and we're going to talk about what people's rights are in those uses as well. But before we launch into the nuts and bolts of today's session, today's show, let's start by going back a little bit. What are we talking about? What are credit reports? And I would put this question to our viewers. Let's do a little quiz and see how you guys do. A credit report, is it a record of A, lender's opinions about you, B, how you've borrowed and repaid debts, C, your income and job history, or D, how well you drive? Sarah, what do you think the answer is for that one?
A credit report is definitely D, how well you drive.
Right, yeah, no, actually it's not, and I know you're joking, but actually, you know, a lot of people think that there's information in credit reports that goes way beyond your credit and payments, so it's not surprising, not such an out there answer. The actual answer, of course, as our viewers I'm sure know, is B. It's a record of how you've borrowed and repaid debts, and specifically debts that have to do with credit accounts. So it's generally having to do with accounts where you've taken out credit cards or other loans, which together are known as credit. So can you tell us a little bit more, Sarah, about what other information might be in a credit report and kind of flesh that out a little bit for us?
Yeah, I mean, what is in a credit report is, I think, a mystery to lots of us, but it's really pretty straightforward. In a credit report, you're going to find some basic information. You're going to find your name, your address, your birth date, and your social security number. So this is information that's supposed to identify you as the person that this credit information pertains to. And you know, one thing that we found is that credit reports contain tons of mistakes. A recent study done by US PIRG found that 79% of all credit reports have a mistake in them. So most credit reports have some kind of error in them. And 25% of credit reports have an error that is so substantial that it could affect somebody's credit determination or a price on a loan or that kind of thing.
Or in all those other realms that you talked about, insurance, landlords, employers.
Right, so you could get turned down for an apartment based on an error. So you want to make sure that that information is correct, that it's really you, it's your address, it's your birth date. It might also have previous addresses where you've lived. It's also going to have, and this is sort of the core of the credit report, line by line information about every credit account that you've had. So it's basically your payment history on all your accounts. So every Sears card, every charge card, student loans, a mortgage if you ever had, if you own your home, if you have a car loan. But typically for people, it's a lot of credit cards that are on there listed one by one. And underneath that information, or with each account, it's going to say whether or not you have any outstanding balance. It's going to say if you were ever late on a payment, usually if it's more than 30 days late. If there was a charge-off, for example, the credit card company decided to write off your debt because you weren't paying it up, that's going to be on there as well. The other thing that's going to be on your credit report is something that I know disturbs me and a lot of other people that we talk to, which is that you're going to have detailed information, a list of every creditor who has sought your information, has looked at your credit report to decide whether or not to try to sell you a credit card or make you a loan offer. So all those things we get in the mail, those people have checked us out, right? All those credit card solicitations, first they look at your credit report. By law, there's certain private information they can't see, but they can get a pretty good picture of you and what kind of credit prospect you'd be. So that's going to be in there, and that'll say promotional on it.
So it's not just creditors that you have gone to apply for a credit card or a loan. It's actually any creditor pretty much can check certain parts of your report to see if they want to send you that great all those promotional offers that flood our mailboxes.
Exactly. So what's in your credit reports also, it's going to have anytime you've applied for credit and a creditor has checked out your credit, as well as those that are doing it to market to you.
So let me ask you something on that, because a lot of people, you go to workshops and these credit experts tell you, too many inquiries on your credit report, or if too many people pull your credit report, that's going to hurt your credit. So if I haven't applied to those lenders, is that going to harm my credit that they're checking my report to send me this junk mail that I didn't even ask for?
No, it's not going to harm your credit report that people are basically invading your credit privacy. No. I'm being facetious here, but it won't harm you that other third parties are looking at your credit report. The other thing that's in your credit report is public records, like a bankruptcy or foreclosure or any certain court judgments might be in there as well.
And what about information that's not in your credit report? There's so much, like I said, confusion and misinformation out there where people say, the amount of money you make at your job, that's listed on your credit report. And that's not true. Can you give us some examples of other information that is not included in the credit report? Yeah,
you're not going to have your income or your income history. You're not going to have your utility bills. A lot of times people expect to see their Con Ed bill or the Keyspan bills in their credit report. You're not going to see cell phones or rent typically, medical bills, but there is an instance where you might see that appear, and that's when, if you have not paid your utility bills, if they've gone to collections or a medical bill has gone to collections, then a collection agency might report you to a credit reporting agency, and then it would appear on your credit report. But just in the course of things, you're not going to have your monthly bills appearing on there.
Yeah, and so we're going to be talking about some things today that sound a little bit scary, but sometimes people check their credit report and they actually get good news because they think that their phone bill that they paid a week late has harmed their credit, when in fact it likely hasn't if it hasn't gone into collections, which it wouldn't at that time.